yes, Geek Pantsers, we are doing Krampus. Now, to be fair, there's now like a million Krampus movies out there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Krampus. I gotta pronounce the R properly.
Yeah, you gotta do it like the old lady there.
We're specifically talking about the one that was released November 30th, 2015 in LA, and then later December 4th, 2015 in the US, starring Adam Scott and Toni Collette. That's the one we're referencing. Okay? I mentioned the release dates. It was written by Todd Casey, Michael Dougherty, and Zach Shields. It was directed by Michael Dougherty.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on, shockingly enough, Krampus from Austro-Bavarian folklore. Yeah, I never would have guessed.
Weird.
Next thing you know, you're going to say Santa Claus is based off of Saint Nick and Sinterklaas. Whatever. Anyway, so I mentioned Adam Scott. I mentioned Toni Collette. But also MJ Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Adam Scott plays Tom Engel, the father. Toni Collette plays Sarah Engel, the mother. MJ Anthony plays Max Engel, the son. Stefania Levy Owen plays Beth Engel, the older sister. Krista Stadler plays Omi, the German grandma.
Yep.
And one of my favorites in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking David Koechner plays Howard. And he is one of those guys that does kind of play the same role in every movie.
Yeah.
He just dials up or dials down the douchiness depending on it. This one, he dials up just enough where you're like, fuck this guy. But later you're like, okay, I guess he's kind of cool. He's all right. One of my current favorites, Allison Tolman, who's Linda, who is Howard's wife. She's one of my favorites right now. I watched her in Fargo and I was like, I fell in love. I want to see more of her.
Great actress.
Also one of my favorites, and I never remember that this is her first name, Conchata Farrell as Aunt Dorothy. Mm-hmm. This one plays the same role in every movie. She's literally, like, I picture her as being this in real life, and that's it. And then she just, like, people call her and they say, hey, we need you for a part. And she's just like, okay, what do I got to do? And they're like, the same thing as always. Just do you. We'll see you at the shoot.
Every time I see her, it reminds me of my auntie Sharon.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Luke Hawker is actually Krampus, which I was very impressed by the fact that they actually had an actual suit that they used for this, and it wasn't all just CGI.
Yeah.
There's more people, but I kind of just skipped them because there was a lot of the kids. I skipped all the kids because I was like, fuck it.
I wrote their character names down in case I want to reference them, but that was it.
Okay, good. But here's something that I thought was kind of interesting. The voices, Seth Green was Lumpy, which I couldn't tell you who was Lumpy, nor could I tell you who Clumpy was, but I could tell you he was voiced by Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame.
Really? I had no idea. I didn't even look at voices.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Who is Lumpy?
And finally, Brehen Burns is Dumpy.
Dumpy.
Couldn't tell you who that one was either. The budget, $15 million. The box office, $61.5 million. This is literally just over four times its budget.
Yeah.
Why the franchise didn't pick up after this blows my fucking mind.
I can't believe how amazing this movie looks for 15 mil.
Yeah, they definitely put a lot of money into the special effects, but they did a good job on, and this is like what I love to see. They do practical effects with really polished special effects.
Yeah.
So that both things work seamlessly together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First and foremost, I want to say, before we go any further, I love this movie. So I'm going to be gushing about this movie. It's going to be a lot of, I love prefacing every single sentence that I have here. What about you, Ken?
Same. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Love this movie.
That's what I thought.
And you know what? Like, I thought it looked really cool. Adrian and I, this is one of the very, very few amount of movies that we watched while we lived in BC. we
Wow.
we were stoked to watch this because Michael Dougherty is the writer-director of Trick or Treat, which is one of my favorite horror movies ever.
Yes.
He's also the co-writer of X-Men 2, which is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yes. I knew I recognized that name, and I was like, how do I know that name? And when I looked in his filmography and hit X-Men 2, I was like, oh, yes, that's right. I didn't really care so much for Trick or Treat because I haven't seen that movie yet. But that is on my to-watch list.
Yeah.
But I definitely was like, okay, all right, this is really good. And plus, I love Toni Collette. I love Adam Scott.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine.
Cast. Toni Collette always blows my mind.
I
I honestly believe she's the best actress in Hollywood today. 100%.
You know what? I'd have to agree. She's so 100%. Good.
What I saw her do here, like what she did here wasn't super impressive. It was good. But what I've seen her do in like Hereditary and United States of Terror, have you watched that show? She plays 4 different characters. It's mind-blowing.
My favorite part about Toni Collette, though, is her American accent is so good. You have no idea she's British.
Right. I always forget. It's
every single time.
One of those celebs where I don't remember they have an accent until I watch an interview and I'm thrown off by it. Like, why are they talking like that? Oh, shit, yeah.
I've seen her do her normal accent in movies and went, wow, she's got a really good British accent. Like, that's a really good British. I'm impressed with her British accent. And then later I saw her in an interview and I was like, oh, it's because she's British.
Other way around, yeah.
Right. Okay. She's got a phenomenal American accent. But anyway, so yeah, first of all, the cast is awesome. I'm giving a super shout out to MJ, and the guy that played Max.
Yeah, that kid is incredible.
MJ Anthony sold the movie for me.
Yeah.
Okay, especially because right at the beginning, I immediately fell in love with the Home Alone / Gremlin vibe that this movie gives off. This is probably one of the reasons why I immediately love this movie so much, because like right away when, there's the fight at school, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like Home Alone. And then the family shows up and they all like suck Christmas spirit out of the whole house. And the kids like Max is just like, fuck, like, oh my God. And they find out that he wrote a letter to Santa and they're just tearing him to shreds. I was like, this is definitely like Home Alone in that sense that he's just like, I'm gonna wish that my parents were like, nobody was here and I would Christmas by myself. And then lo and behold, we have something very similar.
That shot of him just like ripping up his Santa letter, throwing it out the window, it blowing up, and then you see the clouds rolling in immediately. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I was like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And then the next morning, it's just everything's encased in ice, and it's this blizzard and everything. And then they start off perfectly with the creep factor by that lone snowman in the yard. I was just like, oh, yeah. Like immediately, I was like, ooh, this is right. Like this feels like this is going to be good.
And snowman is built so it's facing the house, so it's like watching.
Exactly. So it's definitely not like, hey, here's my friendly neighborhood snowman greeting the neighbors. I'm watching this fucking house.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm watching this house for a certain somebody, And I thought it was awesome. And I loved how Omi kept doing these like knowing looks and stuff like that. And you're just like, okay, she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? I loved her relationship with Max as well. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. I actually liked the relationship with all the characters. They're all really well done.
Mm.
The special effects, getting back to the special effects, like, I mean, we'll probably come back and forth to special effects as we
we'll
cover
touch
this.
on that for sure going through, because I mean, like, this is one of those movies where there is so many, like, the shots are a character themselves, because there are shots in this movie that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like
so good.
They were so good, so good. I even love like continuity stuff where they're out in the blizzard looking for Beth, and by the time they come back, like they're literally got like snow and like icicles all over them. It didn't look like most movies where they're out in the winter and it's CGI snow and CGI wind. Their jackets open and they're like, oh, I'm cold. They looked like they were fucking freezing, which I really liked.
I friggin' love that. I love that this movie feels like an old school on set type of film. Like,
yes, very much so.
There's no green screen. Like, this is all just like practical with, like you said, some visual stuff thrown in to like just mix it in perfectly. But it's
I mean, like the windstorm stuff, that's CGI.
Yeah,
that's CGI. You could tell, but it was, like I said, it was just one of those where I was like, man, this is so good.
Yeah, I mean, like the clouds.
So good. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a horror comedy. Because it felt more like it was a suspenseful, sort of a black comedy with borderline horror elements. Like I felt honestly they could have went a little bit heavier, but at the same time, it's not like I'm disappointed that they didn't. Because for fuck's sakes, I was surprised that the first person that got killed was Beth.
Yeah.
I was super surprised. I actually thought it was going to be the family member, like the family the in-laws. Sorry, I thought they were going to get picked off because I assumed his wish was I want everyone, like I want them to go away.
Yeah,
not everyone, but just those specific people. So when Beth got it, and Beth was like, "Holy shit, man!"
Yeah, that really surprised me. She was showing like compassion towards her little brother and everything, you know, like she wasn't just some stuck-up, snooty older sister.
Yeah, like this stereotypical plot, you know, she had a heart, she had some compassion. She was literally like, okay, look, we just got to get through this weekend. It's okay. It's fine. You know, but even the build up to her death was awesome because they had like Krampus, on a rooftop. And she just kind of happened to look over, and we look over, and then we see it.
And he's just crouched, and you see that breath, like
and the horns. That's it. You saw breath and horns, and I was like, "Oh!"
When he goes running, screaming, and he does that howl, and he's running the rooftops, and the camera's just following along with him.
Oh! I was like, "This is so good! Like, this is so good!" Fuck, man. I actually think, now that I say, like, because I know I was saying they could have went a little bit darker. I think if they did go a little bit too dark, the more comedic elements that happened throughout the movie, I don't think would have been as good of a tension breaker as they were.
Right.
Because, like, when we got to the part, and, I'll get back to that in a second, I literally remember going like, okay, all right, I can see it. And this is kind of where I argue the Gremlins aspect, because Gremlins was kind of the same thing. Suspenseful, some horror elements, but ultimately it was a suspenseful black comedy Christmas movie. But it sucks that she got it first. She it's not even like she was a bitch, like you said. She was actually a pretty cool older sister.
Yeah.
She just happened to go out when she shouldn't have, because no one knew what the hell was going on, and then that was it. She was done. It was finished.
Simply walking through the snow to her boyfriend's house.
That's it. You know, although that's a rule in horror flicks: don't have sex.
Yeah, don't do it.
We don't know that she. Well, no, she couldn't have, because no one else. That's what another thing I liked was that whole town sectioned off.
Yeah,
there was nothing coming in, nothing coming out. That was it. It was over for them. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is crazy. One of my favorite actual sequences was the flashback when Ami starts telling the story of her experience with Krampus and how she brought him in. And they did that really, that cool, like stylized, almost stop motion style. Like
stop motion claymation type style, right? Like,
yeah, claymation, stop motion, shadow play. Like, I was like, this.
It kind of looked like those lake animation movies, like Coraline and everything. It had that kind of animation to it.
Exactly, and that floored me straight up. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
When they went to the flashback, I immediately was like, oh, like I went, sat up and was like, this right here. If everything else was just as good and they didn't have that, I still would have loved this movie.
Yeah.
But adding that just put it right over. I was like, oh, you guys got it. You guys got it. You do whatever you want. Whatever you want, I'm in. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. It'll be great. And that's exactly what it was. Like, my favorite part, this fucking Krampus winked at her.
Yeah.
And that effect looked awesome.
Yeah.
He was all shadowed out, and then it was just his eyes, and then it winked. I was like, that is so cool. That is so cool. But so good. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I know it's become one of those movies that I love more every time I see it.
Well, it's funny because the second I finished watching it, I was like, I have a new Christmas movie to watch every year now.
Yeah.
Because that's how good this is. Like, I'm literally like, okay. Because I haven't watched Gremlins yet, and I haven't watched Elf yet, or Die Hard.
All the usuals.
But don't worry. Don't worry. I'll get those. I'll get those.
You got a week to go, man.
Now it's like, I got to get the Santa Claus in there as well. That's right. Yep. But only the first one. Santa Claus 2 and 3. Santa Claus 2 is all right.
Santa Claus 2 is all right. 3 is...
3 is rough.
That is rough.
3 is rough. Should not have been made.
That is not a good one. Nope.
Nope. I mean, the second one was very much in the spirit of the first. So, it was good. I enjoyed it. But it doesn't hold that special spot in my heart like the first one does. Yeah. Third one is garbage. This movie, like I said, I'm amazed that this movie didn't springboard into just a nice little 3 or 4 movie franchise. Doesn't have to make made 4 times its budget.
Yeah.
Like, on a fucking weirdo Christmas horror flick.
Michael Dougherty knows what he's friggin' doing, but I feel like he just wants to try new things all the time. Like, he's been talking about Trick or Treat 2 since the first one came out, and that's over a decade old now, probably.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, he did the last Godzilla movie, and that kicked ass. He killed it.
I still have to watch that all the way through, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see a Krampus too, 100%. I would love it.
Oh, God. Especially the way they ended it. But more importantly, especially because the way that Krampus was designed. Oh, my God. Oh. I was expecting this fucking, hooved, beastie, devil-looking thing with, the horns. I was definitely not expecting a gate-jawed Santa Claus that was like this the whole time.
All hunched over.
The hunched over part feeds into the beast stuff, but the face, basically wearing a rubber Santa mask.
Yeah.
And almost wordless. The howl was the only real noise that thing made.
Yeah, the howl,
that was it.
The laugh at the kid.
Oh, right. That's right. That. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, but that ending was crazy because that ending was so good that it was building up to the point where, and I had that Home Alone feeling where it's okay, Max is going to get in there. He's going to be like, look, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I should never have done that. I'm so sorry. Just take me and bring him back. And I actually thought that they were going to do that, right? Half a second, I was thinking, they're probably going to do the Hollywood ending. And then, Max gets thrown into the pit. He wakes up and, it was all just a dream. It was so great, right?
Dream.
Right? And so, he goes, take me. And Krampus is just grabs him. No, fuck you. Throws him in the pit. And I was like, okay, this kind of lines up. And he wakes up. And,
were you thinking?
And I thought for sure that this was it. This was going to be it was just a dream. And Max learned his lesson, not to lose his Christmas spirit. But the scene ran longer than 2 minutes. And I remember thinking oh, no. They didn't. And then you get a flash of one of them remembering something. Then you get another flash of someone else remembering something.
Yeah,
and they're
he opens, as soon as he looks at the ornament and the whole family looks at it.
And they start seeing the flashes, and then they're just and they know that they're dead.
Yeah.
And then it pans back, snow globe, And I was like, they were never getting out. They were never getting out.
Krampus collects families. You see all these houses.
If Max had never said anything, he would have ended up like his grandmother. He would have got out, but his family would have been in the snow globe.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they panned out and you see them in the snow globe, you're like, holy fuck. Then they pan out again, and then you see it's multiple families. I was like, oh boy. Wow. This was like, whoa, what an ending. That was great. Like, that was a fucking great movie. Like I said, I'm gonna rewatch this every year now.
It's so good. I mean, like, it's not even just Krampus either. Like, all these elves look creepy.
Hold on, stop. Krampus. You're gonna say it like Omi. Another part that surprised me was the gingerbread helpers.
Yeah, they were hilarious.
They were like just goofy enough, like the gremlins at the end of the movie when there's so many of them.
Yeah.
If it was just a stripe, I would have been like, that's scary. But the rest of them, you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. But those ones, I was like, whoa. And like when they pulled the kid through the fucking chimney, I was just like, holy shit.
After he bites, takes a bite out of the one's head, and it's all like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. He's fucking pissed too. The Jack in the Box was creepy as hell though. That was an excellent design.
Up in the attic?
Yeah.
That thing was creepy, how it was eating.
That was an excellent design, like snake-like and everything. I was like, oh, that was genius. Like,
actually, like all four of them up in that attic were like really good.
That's right. Yeah, the doll. Yeah, the doll with the weird tentacles and stuff.
The creepy flying doll thing. You got like the robot that was stabbing like Adam Scott.
Oh my god! Like all of that was so awesome.
The crazy bear with the big teeth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Crazy Bear was another one too. Like Jesus, they were all just fucking crazy, just crazy. So, needless to say, Geek Pantsers, if you haven't seen seminal classic Krampus, watch it for fuck's sakes, man.
It's amazing, 100%.
Although, we probably should have said it at the beginning. If you haven't seen it, watch it, and then come back and see this, because this is spoilerific. Spoilerific.
We actually kept it pretty good. You know, we basically said the ending. We said the ending, and then basically everyone died. But other than that...
Yeah, we also talked about how some of them died, too.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to reference another way some of them died, too. Like, when they're getting to the snowplow, and then all of a sudden both parents get like pulled in.
Yeah.
Because Krampus is like swimming through, or not Krampus, but whatever the hell that thing was swimming through the snow.
Yeah.
It was swimming through the snow, and then it gets both of them. I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Let's talk quickly about his sled too, with like the big demon horses.
Yes.
And how like all the toys are on there, like all getting back on the sled, and the Jack in the Box like snake thing is all like, like, oh
God,
man.
Like just creepy enough, just like suspenseful enough, just a little scary, little bit of humor. Man, this is just I was floored by this movie. I wanted to see it when it came out, and then I didn't, and then I forgot all about it. So then when you mentioned it, I was like, yes, we're gonna do this movie, and I was so pumped. And so thank you, Kenneth.